Good afternoon, Darryl.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for being here. Welcome to the Future of Fashion podcast series.
Thank you.
We're very lucky to have you. First of all, how do you feel today? How was your day so far?
Well, actually, it's been a really busy day. I wake up in the morning. I had Sky News take me to their offices, and I did a live interview for Sky News, which was really incredible.
That's wonderful. And how is your day so far at the Future of Fashion environment? How would you describe it?
This is just a great environment, and people work really well together. They're all here for one cause, and that is, to really have a look at sustainability, have a look at access. It's so welcoming because, really, if we look at the message of access, it just means everyone is welcome. It's not exclusive. And the fashion that is here, also the brands that are here, are all just about let's plan and design for everyone. For all different scopes, all different needs. Either it might be mobility, communication needs, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
Thank you so much. Speaking of extraordinary, you are an art teacher. Correct me if
That's right. I'm an art teacher by day and a designer by night.
And you met Garrett, who is an architect.
That's right. Yes.
So how did this happen between you two?
Actually,
Create a symbiosis in a way.
We met. I think we were online, and we sort of met when we were looking at a software called Grasshopper, and that's really looking at coding. And Gareth is an amazing coder, so he got in contact with me, and he loves fashion. He will code all his dresses, and he'll print them out in biodegradable plastics. Using a 3D printer, whereas I actually use vector graphics. I cut into my paper and then I fold paper. So we actually share quite an interesting synergy because we are similar in our way that we're looking at alternative materials and we are very interested in metamaterials. So that means future materials and ways that we can actually use those materials to incorporate into fashion.
Would you agree you've discovered a niche?
A niche. It's being doing. People are doing it. People are doing paper, and they're doing these sorts of things, and more people are getting into it because they actually realise that there's a future in new materials, and even when you look at the idea of sustainability, you think about, well, if we're going to use something that is recyclable. You could use cardboard, you could use something that is, but how are you going to turn it into a fabric? And that's where my technique comes in, where I use thousands of cuts and create what I call living hinges. And these living hinges mean that the cardboard suddenly becomes very, very tactile, very much like a material. Now, my focus is on origami. And as we know with origami, the pleated origami has real structure to it. And that's why the scientists are sending space structures to actually unfold and to hold their shape really rigidly. If I add cuts into some of my forms, I can have rigid and I can have flexible. And now there's a real sort of need for that, especially when you're thinking about fashion and you want to have particular forms within fashion. You want to sort of extend on the shoulders, you want to singe in. You can actually now, using the form of techniques that Gareth and I are using, you can use these to really manipulate your fabrics.
You're talking about extension of shoulders and manipulation.
Yes.
We know that people with disabilities, they struggle to find the right clothing size, for example.
Yes.
For them, it's very hard to fit based on their size. Or, for example, if they're lacking any type of accessibility, just as per the way they've come to this world, let's put it like that.
Yes,
How do you think we can continue the contribution in the fashion industry by having in mind your concept with Garrett? How you can be successful for those type of people?
Well, you look at accessibility and you sort of say that fashion needs to welcome in a whole range of people, and the future of fashion is definitely going to be about that. One thing about my invention is that it can actually be drawn, so it can actually fit by drawing in particular areas. So if you're going to fit a different type of body, you might just pull into that area and singe to those areas within your outfit. And that's the future. That's where people are talking about, the shoes, the sneakers, where they have them self-lacing and they pull themselves into their positions. This is sort of very similar in the sense that we could have clothes in the future if we design the right structures that could form and that can control.
Would you agree this is a problematic area at the moment because less designers are not focused on this type of areas, and this is going to be the future more or less, considering actually is expanding our horizons and thinking how accessible and comfortable we can create
Absolutely.
clothing.
Future moves towards customizable, and I really feel as though fashion needs to be customizable, and in a sense too recyclable. The idea what we're developing is working with, like Gareth works with his, almost like you can fit and you can clip units in together. So if you could think about it, you could bring in accessibility by being able to create your own designs, your own outfits, or adapt those outfits. If you wanted to remove an arm from remove a shoulder or something from here, you could just weave it in yourself. It would just clip into place, and you could actually have something that that was more functional and that has actually fitted your identity.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'm definitely, not only me, truly excited about your current designs, to see them today live, about the future designs, and what else actually you consider, what will inspire you, because I think every day we get inspired for little things. And
Absolutely, yeah. Well, this series, this runway is actually inspired by the concept of ripple and water. So when we first initially started brainstorming this, Gareth and I sort of thought more about how can we look at the mathematical ideas that are built in here. So we looked at things like fractal tree geometry with the divisions within geometry, and we also looked at the sine wave, which is just a beautiful regular wave that can come through ripples, it can come through sound waves, and then that became the structure of a lot of the outfits that you'll actually see on the runway today.
I'm so excited to see them, and I'm looking forward in a couple of hours.
Yeah, no, I'm really
see them
excited
in
too
live.
to be able to display those, because what we do also is we like to work with the models and give them a story. So when they come onto the runway, they've got a story that they're focusing on. We've got the Queen, we've got the young a rocket chick, those sorts of ideas. But I like working with the model, coming up with the story, and in fact when they've come for their fittings, that's been incredible, because the fittings have really allowed me to re-look at the concept, to alter their dresses. I give them the choice of how they'd like to wear their shoulders, how they'd like to have the back done, and I refold and re-knit paper for them, and that seems to work like a really good process. So it's getting along the idea of you're including other people in this, and you're giving more of that idea of this is what I need, this is what I want. I think this is the future of fashion.
That's fantastic, and the more people see this type of exposure, even now behind doors, and then obviously up to the world, even the models themselves, they can feel the difference.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people feel a bit different. If they're not exactly the right size, they feel down on themselves. So I think what you're doing with Gareth is absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
One last question, which I may ask you, is if you could leave a message to the world about the fusion fashion and design, what would it be?
Well, we really are thinking about accessibility, and I think the first stage of accessibility within fashion, or anywhere really, is that companies take on that sort of responsibility to say, actually, I will have a branch of my company, it will be the accessibility branch of my company, that will be fed into always the questions that you ask about any product will be, but how about someone that might not have the mobility? But how about someone, even in technology, actually might not be able to have, if it's a technology that has sound and picks up sound, what about someone that can't speak? What about all of those ranges of people out there? And that then becomes embedded in our systems, and people don't have to sort of question it so much, they just expect it. It's just what happens. We welcome everyone into industries, and we welcome everyone as consumers,
And that's
with the
how it
product.
should be. Everyone are welcome to feel fashion, to sense fashion, and to be part of this immersive embodiment.
And to build their own identities through their fashion, which we know is a really important part of fashion.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to see your designs in live in a couple of minutes.
Great. Well, let me get stuck in. Thank you very much.